A while back, I remember reading something by Richard Dawkins, and he called pantheism sexed up atheism. Is he right? Maybe to a certain extent. I can understand his reasoning behind this. For me, it goes a little bit deeper than that. I would say that God is another name for nature. So God, nature, and divinity are identical. So I don't see God so much as an anthropomorphic being as most people would see God. I see it more as a force. I see it as what the Egyptians would call Aman. It is the hidden force in nature. It is the Tao. It is what the Gnostics would call Abraxas. It is both light and dark, good and evil. It is the coming together of opposites. It is non-duality. So that's what I would see God as being. So sexed up atheism, maybe to a certain extent. I think it goes a little bit deeper than that as far as I'm concerned. I don't necessarily consider myself a pantheist. A pantheist. I just consider myself a pagan, an enlightened pagan, or a postmodern pagan, or something similar to that. I don't see myself as being an atheist per se. If you remember the movie, and I've said this before, if you remember the movie War of the Worlds, or if you remember the movie Godzilla, all these movies, they talk about nature coming back and playing a role in what's happening in the earth, in the world of worlds, War of the Worlds rather. Nature attacks the aliens that were trying to take over the earth, and it attacks them by using bacteria. Something like the common cold could defeat these powerful aliens that came from another world that were trying to destroy us and disrespecting nature at the same time. Also, in the movie Godzilla, as I said before, if we mess around with all this nuclear warfare and you disrespect nature by dumping it in places you shouldn't be dumping it, or just using it period in the wrong way, then nature's going to come back and lash out at you. And who knows, it might be in the mythical dragon Leviathan, Godzilla in other words, coming back and taking revenge on the people who disrespected the earth. So how does this relate to the real world? Because these are just movies, fictional movies. Well, see what happens if you take nuclear waste and you dump it somewhere. That area is infected for about 1,000 years. So it's not a good thing. See what happens if you pollute the oceans. If there's any more oil spills, or if you just start building nuclear plants everywhere, it's not a good thing. Or if you don't look for ways for alternative fuels rather than always using gasoline. That's disrespecting the earth, and the earth will have its day, so to speak, or have her day. Mother Earth is being something more feminine. So you want to be aware of that. At least, in my case, I do. So I would say that as far as pantheism being sexed up atheism, to a certain extent, yes, but I can see it as being a little bit more than that, because I would say that nature has a conscience behind it. It is aware of its environments. It's aware of the things around it. So, as I said before, God to me is another name for nature. It is the force. It is Amen, the hidden, the Tao, Abraxas. A good example of this, a good example of God as being Abraxas is, remember that movie The Craft? And remember that one scene where one of the witches in the movie said that if God and the devil were playing football, God, or Mammon, or whatever, what was the name of that deity, Manu or whatever, Mano, that's the name. Mano would be the sun that would shine down on the football field. Mano would be the football field itself. So Mano would be non-duality. So I don't use the word Mano because I don't think Mano was a real god. I would use something more appropriate. I would say Abraxas would be the sun that would shine down on the field, or Abraxas would be the football field itself. So it's non-duality. It goes beyond good and evil, or God and the devil, or whatever. To me, that's just Mickey Mouse type stuff, and that is something that I just don't ascribe to. So I read the movie the book The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins, and I pretty much agree with a lot of things he says. He doesn't really attack my beliefs. He might attack it, well, he didn't in this book. He might attack some of the beliefs I have in magic, but as far as what God is kind of close to some of the things that he believes, because him being a scientist, he looks at nature and looks at natural selection and looks at the things in nature, and he's in complete awe of that. He doesn't believe that God, put all this stuff into motion, but he does have some type of religious feeling coming from just looking at nature itself. So it's not too far from my beliefs. It's not too far from what he believes, but I don't necessarily consider myself an atheist. So those of you who have asked me questions on what I think God is, or divinity, or things of that nature, as I said in this video, God, nature, and divinity are identical. They're one and the same. I don't necessarily see God as an anthropomorphic being. It's more abstract. I think it has more to do with Carl Jung and the collective unconscious and things of that nature. So that is my beliefs. If you have any more questions that you want to ask me, feel free to ask, and feel free to subscribe to my video. Okay, so until next time, love is the law, and as always, peace.